It was the 1st of December. That was the day President Biden pardoned Hunter. I don't know. I don't have no song, y'all, as an intro for this. I don't. This is, let me see your transcript. You better for his teacher. I'm out here walking, boy. Long day, Monday, but productive. Counting down to Christmas break. But yesterday, Sunday afternoon, I got an alert notification, and it said from Reuters, which is one of the Reuters, one of the older, more established, legitimate, usually much more facts driven, not really showing a lot of bias. So that, President Biden pardoned his son. And at first, when I looked at it, I was like, well, this is from Reuters. This is not from TMZ. This is not from, National Enquirer. This is, legitimate, reliable source. So I was like, let me wait, get some more, see some more reporting by some other news agencies. And then I saw MSNBC, NPR, BBC, Al Jazeera English, and sorry, the AC is really loud right here. And I had time to think today because I teach history, I also teach government. And I also did, this was actually my do now or say warm up for my students today. Ask them a question. Because right now we're also talking about judicial branch. But I've talked to them about executive branch and presidential duties. And I asked him the question. I said, is Hunter the charges that his father is, pardoning him for, are they criminal or civil? We got the first one right. That Hunter was charged with tax evasion and unlawfully having a gun, or lying on a form saying that when he went to purchase a gun, and I think it said something about drugs, and he basically said no. Sorry. Y'all know my head was bored. Okay, so I think there was 34 counts against him. I think the trial was a trial last year. It was supposed to come to some type of what you call it, plea deal, but it just never went through. Even Republicans in Congress wanted him to come up there and talk about it, which I didn't understand. I'm just like, isn't he in court already? What do y'all need to bring him up there for? But then they say, oh, we want you to come up here and talk to us behind closed doors. And he was like, no, you want me to come up there? Just come up there. Let me get in front of the camera. And y'all all can sit around here and ask me questions like you asked these other people that you told to come up here and talk to you too. Why we gotta be behind closed doors? Okay. And I guess the last year I've been asking President Biden, are you gonna pardon your son? Are you gonna pardon your son? And I think I remember one statement he said, hey, I'm whatever the Justice Department is gonna do, I'm gonna just let them do their something to the effect he gonna let them do their job. And I guess other people pointing out like, no, he lied. He said he was never gonna pardon his son. And I'm just like, okay. And then part of me feel like, hey, person who studies and reads the U.S. Constitution, the government, and I'm thinking like, hey, it should be fair. I should be mad and upset. How can he do this? But part of me deep down, this is the question I asked my students, the second question I asked them, I said, as the president of the United States, should he have pardoned his son? And I had a lot of students who said no, because that's his son. You are the president. It's two different things you're trying to do. But then some of my students said yes. And I'm looking at the Article 2, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution. And guess what it says? Part of it says, the president shall pardon individuals who have committed crimes against the United States, with the exception of impeachment. Okay? So y'all remember everyone kept saying, oh, Trump is gonna pardon himself. No, he can't pardon himself. You've been impeached twice. Not once, but twice. You cannot pardon yourself. Now, what's the man? President Gerald Ford did. See, Richard Nixon resigned before he actually went through the impeachment process. They just brought charges against him. Then after he left, Gerald Ford gets on TV and says, hey, I'm going to pardon Nixon for any crimes he may have committed, that he did commit or may have committed during this time. And they asked him during his Senate confirmation hearing, hey, would you pardon the president even though he did some crimes? And he said no. And then when he did, because he was being appointed as the vice president because Nixon's first vice president resigned. So according to the 25th Amendment, I think it's 25th Amendment, the president can appoint someone to the VP position with Senate confirmation. So when Gerald Ford then gave a pardon to Nixon, people were like, oh, he lied. He said he wasn't going to do it. He lied. So now I'm hearing people saying the same thing about President Biden. He said he wasn't going to pardon his son. He lied. Okay. Hey, Lindsay, Regina Snow, Practicing Living Hebrew. I'm thinking like, okay. But then I remember reading where Gerald Ford, they asked him, well, why did you go back on what you said about pardoning Nixon? He said, I thought pardoning him would help the country move on. We had been through, I think Vietnamization was happening. There was a whole Watergate scandal. The VP before was getting, he resigned because of his taxes or something. There were charges of, obstruction. I think conspiracy after the fact against Nixon. And then he resigned and he was like, okay, how can we move forward and just continue, So he's like, I just pardoned him. Now, was it the right thing in his mind? Did he lie or did he just go back on what he said? Or did he change his mind? Nonetheless, it still hurt. It still did not give him a chance to get it. Basically, in the eyes of the public, it was like he lied. Another president lied to us. LBJ said he was not going to send any U.S. soldiers to fight, in Vietnam's war. And he did he escalated the war. Nixon said he was not a crook. He tried to fight, letting them have the tapes. He said he wasn't involved. And he was. And then here comes Gerald Ford and says, hey, I'm not going to pardon him. And then later on, he does. So people lost faith in the president. And I think it still continues to this day. And depending on what our political affiliation is, more of us nitpick or point out inconsistencies or point out the person, hey, they lied, depending on whether you like that person or not. And I asked my students, I said, as the president, should he have pardoned his son? And a lot of them said no. And I said that too, as the president, because you're the president of the whole United States, not just of your son. I think it sets a bad precedent. It shows bias. It definitely, like you said, practicing living Hebrew, nepotism. But I asked my students the third question. I said, as a father, though, was he right to pardon his son, yes or no? And the most of my students, the ones who did say, as president, no, he should not have pardoned his son. For number 3, as a father, should he have pardoned his son? Most of them said yes. Most of them said yes. And you can look at Biden's justification. He said, hey, I felt that my son was being targeted for political reasons and that he shouldn't have been. And so he's like, I'm pardoning. I think he gave him like almost a blanket pardon, like Nixon, like before he gave Nixon, like, okay, I'm pardoning you for the crimes that you are like you're getting charged with, but anything you did between, I think he said, anything you did between January 1st, 2014 through December 1st, 2024. I'm sorry, you gave him 10 years. I'm sorry. He said, everyone was like, wait a minute. You gave him 10 years. I'm like, dude, they're going to be looking to see if you did something. I'm sorry, the Republicans looking right now. This is December the 2nd. They are looking for something that he did right now. I bet you they are. Oh, good. And so some of the Democrats are like, oh my God, I can't believe you did this. Okay. All right. Okay. Right now he has what, 2 months, a little less 2 months left. There's some federal judgeships he could be doing right now. Some other pardons he can be doing now, because President Trump himself did a whole bunch of pardons that last month he was in office, and some of them looked at him crazy, like, okay, Lil Wayne, really? Kodak Black, really? Okay. But like I said, as a father, I'm like, okay, I can see why. Because he knows, because look, who is going to be the next president? But the guy you went against twice. And you know what Trump said about Biden. And you really think he's already said when he gets back in that job, what is he going to do with the Justice Department? First thing, he is going to fire Merrick Garland. Because even didn't Trump say that the investigation against him was for political reasons? Then I think I read somewhere, whoever he's going to have over at the FBI is supposed to help him root out all these people, I guess, who were against him or whatever. I'm just like, okay. And by the way, President Biden has not been the only president that has pardoned a relative. And I can't believe I missed this, because I was I think I was 18, almost be 18. Well, no, middle school to high school during Clinton's administration. And I don't know how this slipped by me. He pardoned his half brother. Him and his brother had the same mom, not the same dad. Well, he left out. He pardoned his brother. I'm like, okay. And then this is the next one too. I put 2 links in the description. Did y'all know Trump also pardoned a relative? So he's out here talking about about how hypocritical or how bad wrong, corrupt, that, Joe Biden is pardoning his sons. Like, are you gonna pardon the January 6th hostages? Sir, those people committed crimes. And my thing is this: if he feel like they were hostages, how come he didn't pardon none of them before he left? Huh? How come? Because you about to get a second impeachment? Mm-hmm. And some of them expected to get a pardon, and they didn't. Yeah, his name is Kushner. And by the way, speaking of nepotism, did JFK, wasn't his brother Attorney General of the United States? I'm just saying. President Theodore Roosevelt was assistant secretary of the Navy. I think about 10, 15 years later, one of his relatives, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, was also the assistant secretary of the Navy. Okay. And later president of the United States, just like he was. Just saying. John Adams' son, John Quincy Adams, was also president of the United States. Talking about nepotism. George H.W. Bush in 41. His son, 43, was president of the United States. And his brother, who was the governor of Florida, helped him get the job. Because it was his state that had to do, guess what? The recount. All right. President-elect Trump, didn't he have his daughter and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, Ivanka's husband, sitting in on like all these different meetings? I still don't know what their job was. Because it wasn't a cabinet position. It was and they had to go through FBI, FBI checks and everything. They were at all these little important G8, G6. I just seeing them sitting in the meeting, like, what do they do? I'm like, I don't even know. Did they even get to be confirmed for this? No, they just sit in the meeting. Everybody else had to go through a Senate confirmation here. They just sit in the meeting, taking notes. But as soon as they had their first impeachment, that second impeachment, all of a sudden you couldn't see them at the White House. Oh, all of a sudden they back in New York. Their kids need to go back to school. They're trying to give their kids a normal, I'm like, okay. And guess what? Jared Kushner's father, okay, his son-in-law's dad, got pardoned by President Trump during his first term. Guess who President-elect Trump nominated to be the ambassador to France, everybody? Guess who? The man he pardoned, his son-in-law's dad, Kushner Jr., Kushner Sr. So y'all trying to tell, I'm like, since when y'all out here, but what kind of advisors? Because you like, advisors to what? Because they have national security advisor. You got your joint chiefs of staff. You got a press secretary. You got a chief of staff. You got all these other people. What do them two need to be there for? It's just like, what? Just, but I don't see him saying about them coming back. I know that. I don't see them. No. I forgot. Jared is going to be part of his, isn't Jared or is it his son going to be part of his transition team? And then I just saw an article that said Trump said a month ago that he would consider pardoning Hunter Biden. Right. Just like, okay. Okay. Nah, I don't know why he said that. But if I was President Joe Biden, I wouldn't believe him. Don't let this man be in charge. My son has an open investigation, an open case with the DOJ, which you say on day one, you finna get rid of the guy that I nominated. And I don't think you might go after my kid. Oh, I'm gonna say I don't blame him. I don't blame him. And I'm kind of wondering now why I see some of these resignations happening. is because I think of some of these people, they feel like either they're going to get fired or something's going to happen under Trump. They don't trust him. They're in a position where they can either be fired or replaced. But now, if you're appointed to a position and you can get confirmed before he get over there, then you know it's gonna be hard to get rid of you. And no one has impeached. Now they are, I believe, they are impeachable. So then we got to look at who's going to be in charge of the House. I think I just read that there's like one seat. You have to have 218 votes, 218 people in your party for you to pick the Speaker of the House. So I'm thinking they're looking at one race right now. I need to double check on that. And right now in the Senate, it's 47-53. Some of Trump's appointments, I don't think are going to make it, y'all. Because some of the Republicans are tired of him too. And I do believe that some of the people that like Matt Gaetz and other people that are in Congress that he was trying to nominate for these different kind of positions, I think he was trying to get them out of Congress because they probably would stand in the way of some of the laws that he wants to get done. So he was like, oh, let me get them another job. Yeah. So his charges was unlawfully lying on a form and unlawfully having a gun, and then tax evasion. And then I just read something now before I came on. Girl, let's. I'm gonna have to do a whole nother video just on her. Because her previous job, he actually had her over the Small Business Administration, which I can understand that. You actually helped your husband to make WWE into a multi-million, probably billion-dollar company. Like, she married him, like, out of college. Like, they were struggling for a couple of years. Then he somehow, I think his dad or something, had WWF, I think. And then he took over, and then she was helping him run it. I think they're estranged now. So I'm just like, you picked her for Secretary of Education? What's she gonna introduce? Wrestling education? Wrestling scholarships? Like, what we gonna do? Like, and then this new department he wants to pick, what is it? The Department of Government Efficiency. I think they already got a department like that. Isn't it called the Office of Management Budget or something? See, I'm tired. Wait, there are allegations she turned her head and what? See, I gotta do some more investigation. Yeah. And then I also read that she was she's also the CEO of a group called America First, y'all. When I really gotta do a video on her. I went to the website when the first day he said he was gonna make her Secretary of Education, and I was like, "What is her qualifications?" And they were like, "Oh, she was on some PAC helping him raise money." And then I was looking like, okay, I went look at her, qualifications. She does have a degree. Her degree is in French. And I read that she was going to be a French teacher, but she got married, and then she went to help her husband in his first business. I think they own like an arena that had, or some type of building that held different events. I think hockey, or was it soccer? I forget it. And so she said, right, like another junk jar. And then she became I think she helped him run the business. I think at one time she was CEO, I think. And then she became some state board of education. But then she resigned after a year, and she went to work on his was the Small Business Administration in 2019, I think. But then they say she didn't resign for that. Really, she was going to get kicked out because they thought she had a degree in education, but she didn't. Exactly. Like what? Y'all, I'm still trying to figure out how y'all elected him. And then y'all didn't know what a tariff was. Right. And one of my economics teachers, he's trying to drill that into his students now. Like, hey, y'all don't learn what a tariff is when you leave my class. We pay tariffs on goods coming into the United States. So guess what some other countries may do? We raise our tariffs. Guess what? They raise their tariffs on goods that we're trying to sell to them. So guess what may happen? Our products don't get sold abroad. So what we gonna do, y'all? just okay, all right. So yeah, it's President Biden pardoning his son. I wouldn't trust Donald Trump. Who he gonna pick as the head? You saw he's gonna put Matt Gaetz in front of the Department of Justice. You tell me Matt Gaetz wouldn't have done what Donald Trump told him, like, oh, go finish that case against Hunter Biden and make sure he go to jail. You mean to tell me Matt Gaetz wouldn't do it? Come on now. So I'm just no, we don't need a new constitution. We actually need people. We actually need to look at the Constitution and we need to look like, okay, this is what the president is supposed to do. Okay, then we need to figure out, okay, how can we amend this so we can stop electing convicted felons? Are people who get in the job and they want to appoint other, because the thing is, if you look at the Constitution as it is, it tells you specifically, this is what the president is supposed to do. This is the qualifications. The only thing is, there are unofficial qualifications that we've also depended on for this person to get the job. And usually it was like, hey, leadership ability, military service, education, good speaker, has a law or business or law enforcement background. Okay. They have government experience. They've been a governor, they've been a U.S. senator, they've been some type of position. Then all of a sudden, our asses get to 2016 and we think it's okay for us to have a reality star and businessman to be our president. He got 5 kids with 3 different women. He actually said, I'm going to grab women by the you know what. And people thought, hey, this is a good person to be the president of the United States. We don't need a Constitution. We need an amendment. We need a new amendment right now. Oh, I got to call for the amendment. And getting an amendment added is very hard. The ERA is in limbo right now. We actually have 38 states who voted for it. But some Republicans are like, oh, we missed the deadline. But you didn't say nothing about the deadline when it was before it was 2017, when we were still at 35 for like 40 years. Now you want to talk about the deadline? My thing is, to me, it needs to be a law. Black Anonymous. I teach civics. I teach government. We teach it in senior year. That's why when I teach my class, I give them, I use Donald Trump. I use President Biden. I use the stuff that's actually happening in the news because I want my students to leave here like, hey, I'm going to need some of y'all in here to know what these duties and requirements are, because I'm hoping some of y'all in here are actually going to be these people when y'all leave here, okay? I need y'all to know how to vote, where to go vote, what you're supposed to do when you get there, because right now there's some people out there who are not doing what I think they should be doing. I'm just like, yeah, no, you didn't. My thing is this. Did you know President-elect Trump is not even qualified to be the mayor of Houston? Because you can't be a convicted felon to be a mayor of Houston. Like, what's the rest of the name? I can't think of his name. He's a very popular wrestler. He's from Houston. I think he's from Galveston. And he wants to run for mayor, but he can't because he's a convicted felon. He probably could win. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's 3-4 months. You have government. Your senior year is government and economics. Your junior year in Texas is government economics. Your senior year, each one has semester, and then your junior year is U.S. history, 1877 to the present, and then world history is your sophomore year, and geography is your 9th grade year. That's in Texas. So, and then there's also other classes like AP government, AP economics and stuff like that. And then there's dual credit, okay. But it's just like, but I teach both. I've taught regular U.S. history, but I also teach dual credit. I teach government, and I've taught economics. But I always apply like whatever's going on in the news to what we're doing now, because I need y'all, because government to me is an applicable to your life when you get out of here. Economics, same thing. I go over personal finance, I go over the budget. And actually when I do, I told next year I really want to go back to, I want at least one economics class. I go over the federal budget. I go over budget surplus. I go over, budget deficit. And there's actually a little program I have them do where they actually have to like either decrease taxes or increase taxes, or they have to decrease the expenditures and stuff for the budget to balance it. Because hopefully I'm trying to inspire someone to go into the government. I said, hey, they need, STEM is good, but we need some people with some liberal arts degrees that's in these positions saying, hey, just because we can do it doesn't mean we should. I'm just like, sometimes I just look at stuff like, who's the history teacher? What? They had to be absent in their class. I'm not going to blame it on their teacher. They probably was talking. They probably was absent that day. They probably didn't even do the makeup. They was clowning around. They was in the restroom. When the teacher was teaching that concept. It had to be. Because speaking of Elon, he is, to me, okay. I know y'all remember this from U.S. history. Robert Barons, Carnegie, Rockefeller, Vanderbilt, Morgan, right? Captains of industry. Helped, usher us through, I guess you could say, a second industrial age. But lots of corruption, lots of monopolies. Every time I see Elon Musk, I'm like, 21st century Robert Baron. You Rockefeller right now, as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, sir, just go sit down. And then like Trump put him in. I'm like, please. I'm like, who? I said, there has to be. Let me see. It needs to be, because it's confirmation hearing, because you got to have a majority. So right now it's 47 Democrats and 53 Republicans. We just need, 5 of them? 5 Republicans to move over to the Democrat side to say, no, they can't have a job. I'm just saying. It's like, how? And why is he always putting somebody black in the Department of Health and Human Services? Like, is that the black job? This is the thing though. For the first 80 years of our country's under the U.S. Constitution, there were only 4 cabinet positions. And the Attorney General didn't even have a department. The Attorney General didn't become over the Justice Department until the Justice Department got created under Ulysses S. Grant. And that whole Justice Department, the major thing it was trying to do was the Freedmen's Bureau, trying to make sure that the newly freed slaves were being treated fairly, or helping them to acclimate to being free, like freedom schools, labor contracts, reuniting their families. Like the 5th cabinet position, I guess, in department, they got Department of the Interior. That's the fifth one. That was 1848. That was like 60 years after the first four. Then 20 years after that is the Department of Justice. I forget what the next department is. They wasn't just creating them out of will. It's 14 cabinet positions. Now, however, there are like over 400, I believe. Like there's things called independent agencies, service, like some of them are like Secret Service, United States Postal Service. There's also certain New Deal programs, Social Security Administration, like for example, National Security Agency. Like some things were created because of what was happening at the time period. Like we got the CIA because of Cold War, you know. NSA, National Security Administration, National Security Agency. That's actually another Cold War product. Like, but you just decided, oh, we need government to be more efficient. Other presidents have said the same thing. They didn't create a whole department for that. Did you even look at the ones we got? Like these. Oh no, it wasn't the Space Defense Force. It was the Space Force. Like we have the police force. Like, sorry. Like we got the police force. So we got the Space Force. And I'm thinking like you said, don't we got a whole National Aeronautics Space Administration? So I'm thinking like, okay, we got a whole space administration. We got astronauts going on in space. They got to get trained, right? Who is training the Space Force? What is they supposed to do? And then, like, didn't he say it was supposed to be like another branch of the armed forces? Like, who is, like, wait a minute. We don't even got the space station. You know, the space station is not even totally built because it's like different countries working on different parts of it. Like, it's not even completed. Like, dude, are you thinking about Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Deep Space Nine? That's not built out there yet. Like, oh my God. Y'all got, That's why I be telling myself, I say, look, I told my sister this, I found out this the other day. Did y'all know we have county positions that you only need to be at least 18 years old for? Because we were going over like local and state government. I told them like, hey, you know, president and U.S. vice president positions are just as important, but these local and state ones are just as important too. You need to be 30 to be a state senator of Texas, Texas state senator, and Texas state governor. You need to be 26. No, I take it back. You need to be 30 to be U.S. senator of our state, and the governor of our state. You need to be 26 to be state senator. You need to be 21 to be a state rep. Okay. For some of the county seats, you only need to be 18 for. And I was like looking at some of them. I said, hey, you think about running. This might be, you know, right out of high school. It's possible. I forgot what this kid's name is. He's in a small town. He's graduated high school. He ran for mayor and he won. Yeah, she's like the youngest one. But for her job, I want to say, I'm going to go back and double check. But some of those commissioners, the other judges is 18. Because I was looking at it, I said, wait, is that say 18? There's a few that say 21, but I was like, wait a minute now. And I told my son, I said, hey, you graduate college, you can run for state rep. Okay, you go to grad school, 25, you can run for U.S. House, U.S. rep. Okay, or state senator. I said, President Biden was, when he ran for the U.S. senator from Delaware, he was 28. No, he was 29 years old. His birthday, which was last month, he made 30 before he got sworn in. So he made the cut. Yeah, a lot of those positions, you don't need a degree. A lot of those positions, you need a degree. That's what I'm saying. There are official requirements, You can go to for a lot of states have them. State Secretary of State. I need to do a video on that. Secretary of State position, Secretary of State website for your state, and it tells you the qualifications for all the local, state, county positions, and it has like any forms you need to fill out, because if you want to put yourself on the ballot, if you're part of a political party, or if you're not part of a political party, or if you're a write-in candidate, it has the forms for that. I just need to find out what the form is. Cause I know, like Texas, we got so many different amendments. You know, I was looking it up. I couldn't find an amendment that says we have term limits for our governor. I'm sorry, we need a term limit. I got to figure out what you got to do for that. Cause our mayor has term limits. I want to say, does our county have term limits? I was thinking, like, if my mayor has term limits, how come my governor don't? Because I swear, it's like every month he is signing something. I'm just tired of him. I am. I'm just like, okay, something got to be. Isn't limited government supposed to be a good thing, right? Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. How long was Bush in for governor? Was it 2 or 3 terms? And then Rick Perry was in there for what, 5 terms? Was it 4 terms? What term is Abbott on now? Tear up the parts. I don't even know. Well, was she? Hold on. How long was she governor? No, I know she was governor up until, for me, middle school. And she's the last Democrat we ever had. But, you know, we got 254 counties. And like, if 10 counties that has the largest number of people in the state, we getting outvoted. I'm like, do we need like to have some people move to some different counties and stuff? We got to turn them blue or purple or something. I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm just trying. Yeah, but I know I was supposed to be talking about Biden, but I'm just saying, if we gonna be on him about, oh, he did this and that, then we gotta look at all of them like that. Her daughter, Ann Richardson's daughter, spoke at the Democratic National Convention. Her daughter's name is Cecile. I think it's Cecile. LBJ's daughters, they do something every year on their dad's, not dad's, is it on his birthday? Or is it on the or it might be because of the legislation he anniversary of the legislation he signed. They do something at the LBJ library. So, but okay, y'all, I can keep talking to y'all forever. But thank y'all for listening to me. Thank you to those of you going to watch the replay. Thank you, Practically Living Hebrew, Black Anonymous, Lindsay, those of you in the bushes, those of you going to watch the replay. Thank you, Regina Snow. Please like, share, subscribe. Shout out to all the teachers that went back to work today. We're counting down. I was counting down. I was thinking like, oh, I have 3 weeks left with my students. Then one of the my colleagues said, you know, we have finals starting on a Friday of next week. And I was like, what? I was like, I said, excuse me? So now I got to look at things by day. Is it A day? Is it a B day? Is it a final exam day? Is it a testing day? How many days do I really have left to teach judicial branch? Hey, Stormy Seas tonight. What do you mean you don't like biased? Or you don't like Biden? Okay. Thanks for coming by. But please check out the links in the chat. Let me see if I can put them in here. I mean, not the chat, well, in the chat, but also in the description. Because I didn't even know that Trump nor Clinton had pardoned relatives. I was like, oh, so Biden is not necessarily the first one. Okay, here's from Reuters. President Biden pardons Hunter, and I was trying to find Hunter's because I read another article. I wish I could find it, where basically Hunter said that it's not lost on him that what his father did for him by pardoning him, and he said he was not going to waste. Oh, okay, Stormy Seas. Okay. He said it's not lost on him what his father did for him, and that he was not going to waste this opportunity. He said he understands a lot of stuff that he admitted his mistakes, what he did when he was addicted to. I think he said. Oh, I didn't. I was trying to no. Stormy Seas. I was trying to understand what you said at the end. I didn't know if you were saying biased or Biden. I didn't understand it. That's what I was. That's what I was trying to figure out. So, and he said he wasn't going to waste his opportunity, but he said he was doing things when he was addicted to, I think he said, did he say crack, cocaine, and was it heroin too? Or was it alcohol? But yeah. So, but yeah, so, but yeah, so I'm just, I hope he does stick on the straight and narrow, because when President Donald Trump pardoned Kodak Black, right? He had a federal charge, but Kodak Black has a charge from the state, I think the state of Virginia. It seemed like Kodak Black just didn't go sit down nowhere. Like Lil Wayne got his pardon, he went to sit down. I think the only thing he ever did, I think he released the song, and he did some stuff on Instagram. I think Instagram was like, no, you can't do so. That's about the biggest thing he did. And I was just like, but Kodak Black, see, he kept having an incident everywhere. Like one time he was like pinching on, trying to kiss his mama on her birthday. The other men to tell him to stop. Then he was just doing some weird stuff. And I'm just like, sir, you got a whole pardon by the president. Can you just go sit down? Worry about your case from Virginia? Because presidents can't pardon state crimes. It's Article 2, Section 2 says he can pardon the president can pardon crimes against the United States with the exception of impeachment. So just letting y'all know that. All right. Yeah, has to be, yeah. Yeah. Because I even went to it today, so let me go look at the Constitution, make sure I'm teaching the right stuff, that I understand what's going on. Because I'm thinking like some folks, I don't know, do they get a class when they go get these federal government jobs? They just like, hey, let me take this little civics constitutional test before you start first day or something. Like, I'm just wondering. So I put these two links in to the description. If I find out that article that I read earlier where Hunter is giving his comments, I really do hope and pray he does not make his dad regret giving him this pardon. Like, if you got this pardon, you're going to keep on the straight and now. Now, the only thing that may be a hiccup that I just read, it depends. It looks like Hunter's what do you call it? Hunter's lawyer has filed his pardon with, I guess, the DOJ or with whoever's over his case at the DOJ. And somebody from the DOJ is like, well, yeah, it's nice you got a pardon and stuff, but that doesn't mean we're going to dismiss your case. And I'm thinking like, wait a minute. Did y'all dismiss President Trump last week? From the one about the National Archives trial? So I'm just thinking, like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Now, okay. Y'all dismiss Trump because but in his defense, they say you cannot have a sitting president cannot be put on trial. So they dismissed it. I think a couple of others, I think they've been postponed until after he leaves January 21st, 2020. What is it? 2029? Is it 9 or 8? I forget. Is it 9? People are on application all the time. They picking on him. Yeah. And then this thing is, Frank Tovey, Trump has pardoned his son-in-law's dad, and he's actually nominated that same man to be ambassador to France. And Bill Clinton pardoned his half brother. So Biden's not the only president who's done that. But my thing, I don't know. Maybe if I was Biden, I would have did it differently. Like, I would have pardoned my son like the few hours before the inauguration of Trump. Like, on my way out, blah, 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 boop, and leave it on his desk. Just like, not leave it on his desk, but leave a copy on his desk and then make sure you file it over there at the DOJ before you leave. I'm just saying, like, hey, what you gonna do to me? You can't unpardon him. That's not how it works. No. On the way out, it would have been. This is what I think Biden should do. He should get his John Adams midnight appointments on. Just start signing stuff. Just come on, we go. Because and it wasn't really midnight appointments, but I guess you could say midnight because back in those days it was 3 months in between the term of the president. It was the electoral college met in December. The new president didn't take office till March. So you had a whole 3 extra months, for it to start. So I'm just saying, like, okay, he can just keep signing stuff and appointing people to right before he leaves. Girl, let him have Jill wait. Look, have Jill make him get a nap in the mid-afternoon and then wake him up. Something. I'll have him go to bed early and wake him up early. Say, Joe, you got some more papers you need to sign before you get up out of here, okay? Everybody get a party. You get a party. Everybody get a party. Oh, shoot. So I really wish that, man, there's this comedian, he does comedy shows with puppets, and there's one puppet that looks so much like Joe Biden, and I just really want that. I said I wish I just need him to do a routine as Joe Biden on his last day in office. Oh. I'm just saying. Okay, y'all, I've been on here long enough. Y'all have a good night. Thank you, Frank Tovey, for coming in. Stormy Seas today. Yes, that Durham guy. Oh, I love him. Yes. Oh, I think maybe he did. Did he do a routine? Because he had one where it was some shades on. I was like, he looks. I don't know why he just doesn't do Joe Biden commentary. Oh, I love it when he does peanut and the jalapeno. And then he says the skull, I'll kill you. Oh. There's another lady, she's a Black girl. She does she sings with her puppet. I'm just like, I don't even know how you can do that. Jeff Dunham. Yeah. There's this other guy, he does He's a black puppet. He does one with the little kid and his grandmother, but it's actually his own mother who's voicing the grandmother. And they do stuff like try new foods, or they do like little skits about, parent teacher conference, or when one of his friends comes over to him. No, your friend can't come over. It's fun. I gotta share it with y'all. So part of my self-care. So, all right. I'll talk to y'all later. Thanks so much for listening to me. All right, boys. Look, he laying down now. So, okay. Talk to y'all later. Bye.